On to this next entertainer, because this next entertainer actually Michael Jackson said is his greatest inspiration, and that would be the Godfather of Soul, Mr. James Brown.
Yes.
So let me introduce everybody to Mr. James Brown. He's one of the most important and influential artists in the history of music. The Godfather of Soul commanded the stage with raw emotion, precision, power, and many would say he gave hip-hop the blueprint with the beats and the grooves producers still sample to this day. Stevie Wonder once said that James Brown was one of the most sampled artists. Songs like I Got You, I Feel Good, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, Please, 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 and This Is a Man's World. He made a lot of hits, but he also made statements. He used his voice and his platform to speak directly about self-worth, pride, and he owned various businesses, including his own publishing, radio stations, and he even owned his own private jet. So Dad, let's watch this quick clip of James Brown, and then let's come and talk about what we saw.
Yes. The Godfather of Soul, he took it to another level too, from the 60s on through the 70s, man, with his excitement. And you know, again, everybody brings something special to the table that make them different from everybody else. When it comes to music, remember James Brown used to write and produce a lot of his music, you know? And what they said about him, I don't know if you noticed it, but this is very important when it comes to James Brown. And I learned this over the years when he was talking about how he created his own music. He said, everybody does 4 bars to a beat. Dun, 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 dun. And everybody start with dun, 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 dun. If you think, I'll give you a good example. Michael Jackson music start with, let's say, Billie Jean. Dun, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
James Brown said, I don't start with dun. I start with dun. Not dun, dun. James Brown started dun, 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 dun. He left the first beat off of his music, if you notice that. Everybody go Michael Jackson music with dun, 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 dun. James Brown said, I leave the first beat off and all my music start with dun, 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 dun. If you notice, that's his groove. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. He left off that first beat. All his music, everything he did, it started with the downstroke, not the first part.
Interesting.
If you notice it, that's how it sounds different.
I never realized that, but it does have like a different sound than a lot of other music. And
that's what made him different. If you look at it, I Got the Feeling. Dun, 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 I got the feeling. And that was his whole thing. He said, I'm going to start with not the first beat, the second beat. All my music going to start with the first downstroke. And if you listen to it, go back some of his music, you see everything started with the second beat of the note.
Yeah. So, I remember us talking about James Brown throughout the years, and you always mentioned about like his command of the stage. And that probably, I think, was one of the biggest ways that we see that manifest in Michael Jackson. Like, I mean, his command of the stage, James Brown, when I go back and I watch YouTube clips of him from years and years ago, I'm like, I'm sucked into it. Like, that's how well he's commanding the stage years and years before, like, I would even, you know, be around. I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, like, he's got me locked in.
Well, James was another one that he was so great at his thing and his element. Remember, so you had Jackie Wilson, you had Sammy Davis Jr., a lot of them guys did the music, but they didn't really own the rights to the music also. You see how he evolved? James Brown produced, and he had his own recorded studio. So he was one of the first ones to own his music and produce and print his own records. James Brown. So the publishing. And that's the beginning. Right. That's the beginning of being independent to the music industry. And that's why he had a jet. You know what I'm trying to say? Because he was one of the very first to turn around here and own his rights and publishing rights, and also actually reproduce his music on his own, because he had something that was special, you know. And I just want to say what he had special was the voice, the dance, the talent, and again, that beat. You see, if you sat down here and listen to all his music all start with that excitement. Then Papa got a brand new band. You see that? Everything was bent.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to go back and listen to some of the James Brown discography, because I'm like, It's all
Think
making
about it.
sense. And everybody that's watching or listening to this episode, comment down below if you knew some of these facts, because I feel like my dad is dropping a lot of gems and a lot of knowledge that I am just hearing for the first time. So comment down below about your thoughts. I totally agree. It's just, I think it's just funny because I see when I look at Michael Jackson on stage and I look back at those performances, out of all these three entertainers, I see the influence of James Brown the most. And I think James himself even knew that, and gave props to Michael Jackson in on many different occasions, rather. So I want to show a clip, Dad, from the 1980s. This is actually from 1983. And I know you saw this probably live when it happened, but I want to show this. And you actually told me about this. This is James Brown and Michael, and Prince was actually there too, but we're not going to watch that part. Let's check this out.
Let's give another standing ovation for a young man sitting behind you that you have no idea who's in the audience. Michael Jackson, move Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. I love you.
Yeah, there you go. Out of nowhere, you get up there and just do your thing and create excitement in itself. Like you said, James Brown. You heard what James Brown said, though? If you listen to what he says, ladies and gentlemen, he's in the audience. I want to introduce you to little Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson ain't little no more. You know that? Michael Jackson is big grown Michael Jackson superstar. But he remember him as a little child back in the day. You know what I'm trying to say? He said little Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson passed, he did Rock With You and all that stuff. But the point I'm making is that you see how he danced out? He looked at that whole routine. It was like James Brown.
Yeah.
He did James Brown routine. Remember the dancing you saw? And again, everybody has something special that a lot of people can't emulate. Nobody could do the split like James Brown.
And Michael continued to do those moves like throughout the Bad Tour, the Dangerous Tour, live in Bucharest. We saw that show on DVD. Like, it's just, I think one thing that makes Michael special is that he continued to pay homage to the people that influenced him. And here is a clip that I'm going to share. This is our last clip of the day, but I think it's going to wrap this conversation up really, really well, because this is Michael Jackson in his own words, giving his props and his love to James Brown.
What is a genius? What is a genius? One whose inspiration demands change. A genius. I love you more. I couldn't refuse to give this award tonight because nobody has influenced me more than this man right here. And I'm happy from the bottom of my heart. Since I was a child, at 6 years old, he was the one that I looked up to more than any other entertainer. And I still do today.
That's respect. It's almost like saying, if you notice, for one person, pass the torch to the next person and being respectful to the one that came before. And that's what Sammy Davis did with Michael Jackson. And like I said, what Michael Jackson did with, what Michael Jackson did for Sammy Davis Jr. and then what Michael Jackson did for James Brown.
Yeah.
And James Brown, there was a time, I know for a fact, that he also mentioned that about Jackie Wilson. These guys are really special in their own time. So, he said it, he said it to you as honest as he could say it. This guy has influenced me more than anybody else on earth. James Brown, from the 60s until like 75 or 77, 78, he captivated the audience just as much as Michael Jackson did. He was so entertaining, so exciting that he was special. When he did his dance and he did his splits, who could do that? Who could emulate that? That was something that you just can't do. That's part of your uniqueness. Same thing with Jackie Wilson. His uniqueness was what he did, his splits and what he danced. James Brown, his dance, the splits. Today, the greatest Michael is Michael had his own thing going, which means people couldn't do what he did, but then nobody could do what James Brown did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's all
Same thing
part
Jackie
of what
Wilson.
makes them iconic, and like they all have those, like, either whether it's the dance moves or it's the different beats in the music, or it's the way that they dance or the way they command the stage. Like each of these artists was so iconic, and I really like what you said at the top of the show, which was that Michael took all of so many different elements from all of the greats and he combined them into one, and he almost became like a super legend himself because he combined all the legends, the elements of the legends. And
Right, exactly.
yeah,
He put all that together. And the thing about it, let's get back to the one that's really more important than anything else when it comes to these icons. From Sammy Davis Jr. being able to weather the storm, being one of the first minorities to get out there and go through the tough times and still be a superstar, through James Brown, who to me is just as much as a pioneer when it comes to what he's done for minorities in America. When he sang that song, "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," that was an anthem that made everybody. And today, that song still played, and it make you feel special when everybody back in them days try to make you feel as though you wasn't special. When in reality, you are special. You are special. Michael Jackson was one of the greatest entertainers in the world. How can anybody judge him? You know what I'm trying to say? How can anybody judge what James Brown did? Remember, I'm gonna say it to you again. These guys made America great because from people that was looking at the world of America from other parts of the world, say, man, what is America doing over there? They producing some of the most serious people. And the people that they was producing that made them great, America, was a lot of minorities, such as Michael Jackson, Jackie Wilson, James Brown, Sammy Davis. That made America great because they went worldwide. That's special. You know that? And one more last thing when it comes to them is being a minority, fighting for minority rights and things. Again, I'm going to say it again. James Brown, I could put him up there just as much as you put Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, and all the greats that turned around and was standing up for minorities in America and around the world. That song, "Say It Loud, I'm Black and Proud," you can't ask for nothing deeper than that. He put that just like Stevie Wonder said, "I just called to say I love you and happy birthday to you."
yeah,
Those songs are iconic. You're going to hear that the rest of your life.
right.
They dedicated their music to be a voice for change. And same thing with Michael. As Michael, they said, if I remember correctly, they said Michael Jackson was donating the most music, most money, events for people that needed help than any other entertainer in the world. You hear that before?
Yeah, yes. Actually, in the Guinness Book of World Records, he was named. You're totally right about that. He's the entertainer that's donated the most amount of money to the charities. And that includes charities like the NAACP, United Negro College Fund. He donated to so many children's hospitals around the world, donated to orphanages and all different types of causes, so many different causes. World Hunger, We Are the World, right? They raise money. There was just so much, I think, that Michael took from all these artists, not only on the stage, but off the stage, right? You've mentioned the humanitarianism. You mentioned really just helping people see who we are as America. Like they were almost musical ambassadors in a way, and that's so true. I never really think about it that way.
That's part of American culture. And guess what? To sit down here and forget the history and what made America great, in addition to them just being great in itself, those people were able to bring the light to America greatness. You had people, you said, ambassadors to America, and guess what? They were minorities. So not to sit down here and ever forget what was done to make America be recognized through the world, like such as Michael Jackson. Look at Michael Jackson. He's worldwide. He's worldly known.
Yeah.
You know that? I'm talking about worldwide. And he come from America. So America's been producing some very serious people based upon the system.
Right.
Give everybody opportunity to rise to the top, And the one thing that he did that I still say is very difficult to do, because I know everybody look at all the greats. You got Sinatra, you got what's his name, Elvis. You got a lot of superstars, man. But the difference is worldwide they didn't make it across the sea. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Michael made it across the sea with the coming music. He did the whole thing world. He did the worldly music for the entire world to see and hear. He made it across the water to be great, not just in America. And that's the difference. it's going to be very difficult for anybody to get to the level that Michael Jackson reached. And that's why I said, I appreciate you keeping his legacy going, because guess what? He definitely dedicated his entire 50 years to the world of entertainment.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
thank you so much, Dad. This has been, you just said that perfectly. Like, I feel like that is the best way to kind of wrap this conversation up. We've had so many different different things we've talked about today. And I think the main thing that everybody can take away is that, you know, Michael Jackson, yes, he is one of the most influential artists of all time. He is the king of pop, one of the greatest entertainers. But it's also really important and really special to take a look at those who came before him and influenced him in so many ways. And so I want to thank you, Dad, for being on the show and for sharing your knowledge with us, the audience, but also for sharing your love of music and all things entertainment with me, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be MJ Fangirl.
Yes, and I'm glad. And guess what? I'm very glad that you take it to the next level, because I got 1,000 albums in the house you know about, and guess what? You're the one that still, guess what? Have what you call an excitement about that. When a lot of people that moved on, they didn't pass the cassettes, they didn't pass the 8-tracks, they didn't pass the albums, they didn't pass the CDs, they didn't pass the DVDs. They're down to, you know what I'm saying? Just regular music that's on Spotify. And guess what? Somebody like yourself that knows the history. I'm very happy, because guess what? As people move on, such as Sammy, Jackie, James, all the greats, Sam Cooke, all the greats, Sinatra, all the greats are gone. And somebody like yourself to take an interest and continue to move forward when it comes to Michael greatness, his legacy, especially because that's the only way some people are going to continue to know and recognize him dedicating 50 years of his life. And again, not just to himself, to make America great.
Yeah. Well,
Because he came from America.
I could not agree with that more. And thank you so much. Like, this has been really great. And I hope you'll come back on again when we have another topic to talk about, Dad. Will you come back to the show?
Of course, of course. All I need to do is hear you say, come on back, and I'll be back as soon as I can. I appreciate you. I'm going to say it to you again. I got to give you props, because, you know, it's very special. This times that we live in today, for somebody to still recognize and give respect to those who came before them. And for you to actually want to know about the 20 years before you knew about the Billie Jean episode, especially because guess what? That's the episode I know about.
Yeah.
And he was great then. And for him to be great during your generation is another level. And I'm going to say it to you again, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to top that. That's why I say his legacy is going to live on past us.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Yeah, no, definitely it will. And again, thank you again. And I'm going to let everybody know where they can follow the show. So everybody, if you would like to follow the show, make sure that you're following on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. You can also watch on YouTube, which is like my home. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, MJ Fangirl TV. We are almost at 50,000 subscribers, you guys, which is amazing. And also join the MJ Fangirl Patreon at patreon.com/MJFangirl for exclusive in-studio videos. I drop them ad-free and first, like the full long video for you guys. They're exclusively to the members only. I also do unboxings, merch reviews, event vlogs, and candid storytime videos where I get a little bit more personal. So join the MJ Fangirl Patreon to support the show, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. This has been an excerpt from episode number 39 of the Club 30s with MJ Fangirl podcast. Check out full episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and also on the Patreon, where full episodes are dropped exclusively ad-free for Patreon members. Thank you guys so much for supporting if you're a Patreon member, and shout out to our Platinum sponsor, Marlis. You are the absolute best. See you guys in the next episode.